It is the day before Thanksgiving, November 24th, 1971. The skies over the Pacific Northwest are cold, grey and spitting rain. America is in the golden age of air travel, the Mad Men era. Men wear suits and ties, women wear dresses, and smoking is permitted in the cabin. At Portland International Airport, a man walks up to the counter for Northwest Orient Airlines. He is in his mid-40s. He wears a dark business suit, a crisp white shirt, and a thin black necktie held in place by a mother-of-pearl tie clip. He is carrying a black attaché case, a briefcase. He looks like every other businessman in the airport. He looks like a non-person, a ghost in the machine. He pays in cash, $20 for a one-way ticket to Seattle, a short 30-minute flight. He gives his name, Dan Cooper, a name that would soon be printed incorrectly by a frantic press and become D.B. Cooper, a name that would become an American legend, a name that to this day belongs to no one. Flight 305, a Boeing 727, the workhorse of the sky. Cooper boards the plane. He walks calmly to his seat, 18C. He sits down. He orders a drink, a bourbon and soda. He pays for it. He lights a cigarette. The plane takes off at 2:50 p.m. Everything is perfectly, hauntingly normal. As the plane climbs out of Portland, Cooper gestures to the flight attendant. Her name is Florence Schaffner. He hands her a folded piece of paper. She is a beautiful, professional stewardess. She assumes it is the man's phone number. She smiles and slips it unread into her pocket. The man leans closer. His voice is low, calm, and without menace. Miss, he says, you had better look at that note. I have a bomb. Florence is confused. This is not part of the script. She retrieves the note. The words are written neatly, in all capital letters. With a felt-tip pen, it says, I have a bomb in my briefcase. I will use it if necessary. I want you to sit next to me. Her blood runs cold. She looks at him. He's not joking. She does as she is told. She sits down. A bomb? She whispers. The man nods, and for a second he opens the briefcase. Just for a peek, Florence sees a tangle of wires, red insulation, a large battery, and 8 red cylinders. Dynamite. This is real, he says, closing the case. No funny business. The captain is notified. The cabin is completely unaware. The passengers are reading, chatting. This is what makes the Cooper hijacking so unique. It was not a violent political act. It was a quiet business transaction. Cooper was polite. He was a gentleman. When another flight attendant, Tina Mucklow, comes by, he dictates his terms. He never raises his voice. The terms are simple and very, very specific. $200,000 in $20 bills, unmarked, American currency. In today's money, that is over $1.5 million. 4 parachutes, not 1, not 2, 4. And a fuel truck standing by in Seattle to refuel the plane. The demands are relayed to the ground. The president of Northwest Orient Airlines, Donald Nyrup, gives the order. Cooperate, man. Give him what he wants. The safety of the 36 passengers is the only thing that matters. For 2 hours, as the plane circles Puget Sound burning fuel, D.B. Cooper sits. He orders a second bourbon. He pays for it. He even tries to pay Florence for the first one, which he got before the hijacking. He is a man at work, calm, collected, and completely in control. It is 5:39 p.m. The 727 lands at Seattle-Tacoma Airport. The plane is parked in a remote, dark, and brightly lit section of the tarmac. The cabin lights are kept dim at Cooper's request. To thwart police snipers, on the ground, the FBI has scrambled. It has taken them 2 hours to gather 10,000 individual $20 bills, a 21-pound bag of cash. They photographed every single bill, the L series bills. Their only real lead, a single airline employee, walks across the dark tarmac, carrying the money bag and the parachutes. which the FBI had to scramble to get from a local skydiving school. Cooper sees the delivery. He is satisfied. He makes good on his promise. He releases all 36 passengers and all the flight attendants except one, Tina Mucklow. He needs her to stay. The plane is refueled. The cockpit crew is still his hostage. The passengers are safe. The exchange is complete. Now for Act 2. Cooper now calls the pilots to the cabin door. He gives them his new flight plan, and it is the strangest plan they have ever heard. We are going to Mexico City. Then he gives them the parameters, and this is the part that proves he was not an amateur. He demanded they fly under 10,000 feet, a dangerously low altitude for a jet. He demanded they fly at the slowest possible speed without stalling, about 115 miles per hour. He demanded the landing gear stay down, and he demanded the cabin remain unpressurized. The pilots are stunned. This is not a flight plan, it is a suicide wish, but it is also the only possible combination of factors that would allow a human being to survive jumping from a 727. He had done his homework. At 7:40 p.m, Flight 305 is back in the air. 2 F-106 fighter jets are scrambled from a nearby airbase. They are flying blind. They cannot see the 727. The weather is abysmal, a driving, freezing rainstorm. The pilots cannot fly as slow as Cooper. They are useless. The 727 is alone, with its ghost. Inside the dark cabin, Cooper tells Tina Mucklow to go to the cockpit and stay there. "Close the door," he says, "and do not open it." She is the last person to ever see him. She would later say he looked sad, not angry, not scared, but sad. This is the moment, the centerpiece of the legend, the part that no one saw, the part we can finally visualize. At approximately 8 o'clock p.m, a warning light flashes in the cockpit. The pilots do not know what it is at first. Then they realize the hydraulic pressure on the aft staircase is gone. This can only mean one thing. Cooper has opened the door. He has lowered the stairs in mid-flight. At 8:13 p.m, over the dense, dark and stormy forests of southwestern Washington, the pilots feel a sudden change in the plane's equilibrium, a slight upward jolt, as if a great weight has suddenly been lifted. D.B. Cooper was gone. But what did he do? What did he jump into? The movies make it look easy, an action hero moment. The reality, as our AI reconstruction can show, was a suicidal, physics-defying nightmare. Let us run the forensic jump analysis. First, the machine, a Boeing 727. He is jumping from the aft staircase. The engines are above, and to the sides of that staircase, he is being blasted by freezing rain and the roar of the engines. The plane is traveling at 115 miles per hour. That is not a gentle breeze, that is a Category 3 hurricane. The moment he steps off, he hits a solid wall of air. Second, the biology. He jumped at 10,000 feet. The temperature outside that plane was not just cold. It was minus 56 degrees Celsius. That is 70 degrees below 0 Fahrenheit. With a 115 mile per hour wind chill, the effect is incomprehensible. Any exposed skin would flash freeze in seconds. He was wearing a business suit. He was wearing loafers, not jump boots. The cold would have been a physical crushing shock. Third, the physics. He was not an expert skydiver. We know this because of the parachutes. The FBI gave him 2 primary chutes and 2 reserve chutes. What did Cooper do? He took 1 primary and 1 reserve, and the reserve chute they gave him was a dummy chute. It was sewn shut, used only for classroom demonstrations. It was useless. Did he know? We will never know. He also jumped with a 21-pound bag of cash strapped to his body, a bag that would have violently flapped and frozen solid. And finally, the impact. He jumped in the dead of night, in a raging storm, into pitch blackness. There was no moon, there were no city lights. He could not see the ground. He could not see his hand in front of his face. He was falling at 100 miles per hour into a dense, mountainous Douglas fir forest, a sea of 200-foot tall trees. He was a needle in a continent-sized haystack of death. The 727 landed in Reno, Nevada, 2 hours later. The aft staircase was still down, scraping the runway. The plane was surrounded. The cabin was empty. D.B. Cooper had vanished. What followed was the most intense and expensive manhunt in American history. NORJAC, Northwest Hijacking, 500 soldiers walked arm in arm through the 30 square mile search area. They found nothing. No parachute, no briefcase, no skeleton, no $200,000. The case went cold. The legend was born. For 9 years, the case was frozen. A perfect mystery. Until February 10th, 1980, a young boy, 8-year-old Brian Ingram, is having a picnic with his family. They are on the banks of the Columbia River at a place called Tanner Bar. He is raking the sand to build a campfire. He hits something. He pulls it out. It is 3 bundles of rotting paper. He thinks it is trash. He calls his dad. They are bundles of cash, molded, decomposed, eaten by the river, but still recognizable. They are $20 bills. The family turns them over to the FBI. The agents check their files. They run the serial numbers from 1971. L8, L11, L5. They are a match. It is D.B. Cooper's money. A total of $5,800. A bombshell that solves nothing. In fact, it makes the mystery worse. How did it get there? Tanner Bar is here 20 miles outside the established flight path. How could the money travel 20 miles from where he jumped? Did he land and bury it? If so, why only $5,800? Why was the rest never found? Did the river carry it? Experts said the bundles would have separated. They would not have stayed together. The only clue left behind was a riddle, a cosmic joke. The FBI was baffled. For decades, their official position was simple: he died. The jump was not survivable. He was an amateur, a fool. He is a skeleton in the forest that we just never found. The money was a fluke, the end. But if he died, who was he? The FBI investigated over 1,000 suspects, and a few stood out. The first and most obvious was a man named Richard McCoy Jr. Why? Because just 5 months after the Cooper hijacking, McCoy pulled the exact same crime. He hijacked a 727. He demanded $500,000. He jumped out the back with a parachute. It was a carbon copy, but McCoy was caught. He was an amateur. He left a trail of evidence. He was sentenced to 45 years. Was he Cooper? The FBI said no. The timing was wrong. The physical description was close but not perfect. McCoy was likely just a copycat, a very stupid copycat. He later escaped prison and was killed in a shootout. So if not McCoy, who? The internet has its favourites. The true Cooperites believe he lived. They believe he was an expert. He knew about the dummy parachute and did not take it. He knew the flight plan was survivable. He was a professional, a paratrooper, a man with a military background. This leads to the most compelling suspect in 50 years, a man named Robert Rackstraw. Rackstraw was everything D.B. Cooper was supposed to be. He was an army paratrooper. He was an explosives expert. He was a pilot. He had a criminal record. He was discharged from the army just months before the hijacking. He had a grudge. And his face is a near-perfect match to the police sketch. The most damning evidence? The letters. Years after the jump, a mysterious, taunting letter was sent to the press. It said, "I am D.B. Cooper. I am not a modern-day Robin Hood. I am just a man." A team of codebreakers analysed that letter. They believe it contains a hidden cipher that points directly to Robert Rackstraw's military units. Rackstraw, who died in 2019, played a cat and mouse game with investigators his entire life. He would wink. He would smile. He would say, "The evidence is on the ground, you just have to find it." In 2016, the FBI officially closed the D.B. Cooper case. After 45 years, they gave up. They said the resources were needed elsewhere. The file remains open, but the hunt is over. And in a way, that is the perfect ending. D.B. Cooper is more than a man. He is a legend, a modern folk hero. He is the one who got away. He was a gentleman. He did not hurt anyone. He stole from a faceless corporation. He committed the perfect crime. And in an age where we are all tracked and traced and watched, he achieved the one thing we all fantasize about. He took the money and he jumped out of the system. He vanished into the sky. He became a ghost. What do you think? Did he die? A fool in a business suit frozen in the forest? Or did he live? A master criminal who spent the rest of his life sipping bourbon on a warm beach, laughing at us all. Let us know in the comments below.